Welcome to the Member xCite presentation. This is a chance for members to increase their profile amongst the businesses here and online. It's not a sales pitch, but a 10-minute insight into your field, a business innovation, or interesting area of your life. The concept is to provide great content that's helpful or interesting to the audience, and members are welcome to apply to present an xCite across any of our events, as well as our Facebook Lives, reaching audiences of over 10,000, building your brand credibility, and exponentially growing your business. Ladies and gentlemen, our xCite presenter today is Mark Grant from Costless Payment Solutions. Mark is talking to us about to surcharge or not to surcharge. That is the question. We are facing an ever-increasing pressure on our profits from business expenses. So what are your plans to address this? Surcharge laws in Australia have been in place since September 2017. Mark is going to help us understand the confusion surrounding surcharge and how to use surcharge to reduce your expenses and improve your profitability. Mark has spent over 25 years in banking, finance, and assisting small, medium, and large corporations with their payment solutions. 4 years ago, Costless Payment Solutions evolved. This has now resulted in Mark being able to provide products such as mobile FPOS, direct debiting, and zero payment integration with no fees for your business, club, or association. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mark Grant.
I'm going to talk about a subject that has people scratching their heads, whether they like it or not. Surcharge is something that people have different tastes in their mouth about. So I just want to start with that as of 19th of June 2019, there were 19,650,000 credit card and debit card accounts here in Australia. So you might as well say fairly close to one for every woman, man and child. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind for now. So what a lot of people have to think about and what's sort of coming into the fore more now is whether you charge customers a surcharge on transactions. In a lot of my discussions, people say, common reactions are, "Oh, I'm going to lose clients." Maybe you do, but as I mentioned in Matt's introduction of me today, that businesses are facing ever increasing pressure on their costings and also a reduction in their profits. So I don't think there's anyone in this world that will go ahead and want to go home with reduced profits each and every month. So from the 1st of September 2017, all businesses that impose payment surcharges on card transactions need to comply with a new law that bans the excessive payment surcharges. Now, I could talk about this subject for the next 2 hours, but I've got possibly about another 8.5 minutes. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to try and give you just some quick snapshot on how it works. The purpose of that ban is to stop payment surcharges that are more than the actual cost of accepting that payment method. Don't worry too much about that for now. In my slides, I'll show you in a moment. I've got an example there and I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. So a payment surcharge is considered excessive if it exceeds the cost of acceptance. So let's go through and show you. So I'll just move it over here a bit. So as you can see, do you charge customers a surcharge on transactions for accepting card payments in your business? So you are permitted to do so. However, if you're charging your own private surcharge in your business for card payments, it's a very, very labour-intensive process for you to ensure that you're complying with the law. I'm not going to start quoting law because I'm not a lawyer, but I do understand the law and how to comply with it. So I want to give you this example I've got down the bottom there. So I'm going to assume you've got a FPOS terminal with Westpac, and Westpac is charging you the following rates. So on every FPOS transaction, 1%, MasterCard and Visa, 2% per transaction, American Express, 3% per transaction. What are your thoughts on what rate you can actually charge every card holder in your business? I'll answer that now for you. This is an actual example from a client that I met in Brisbane some 3 months ago. And so if you're going into his particular business and you're using your EFTPOS card, he was charging you 3% per transaction. If you're using your MasterCard or Visa, he was charging 3% per transaction. So I politely mentioned to him that I hoped that he had more than $110,000 sitting in his bank account, because he was actually not complying with the surcharge law. In that example I've got there in front of you, the only rate that business could charge every cardholder, I mean everyone, whether you're using MasterCard, Visa, Amex or EFTPOS, was 1%. So if he was charging everyone 1%, effectively what he's doing, because you're all smart business people, effectively what he's doing is he's going out the back door with his profit, because he'd be charging 1%, but Westpac would still continue to charge 3% if it was an Amex and 2% if it was a MasterCard or Visa. These examples are not unique. The Reserve Bank of Australia is of the firm belief that by 2022, Australia could become a cash-free society. And that's predominantly thanks to the ease of tap and go and online payments, which are so much easier to use. So with that and with us going down that path, and I'll have some more statistics for you in a moment, it's really pertinent that you are looking at the most cost-effective way of accepting card payments into your business as this explosion continues in this form of card. Australians are the 6th highest users of electronic payments in the world. So, you know, we're no little minnow when it comes to electronic payments, but if you ask someone where Australia is, well, they say it's, you know, out there in the South Pacific somewhere, you know, a little island down the road. And this statistic will also just have you thinking also. The Reserve Bank states that 37% of household spending is done by cash now, compared with 69% 12 years ago. So that is the sort of the evolution that we are going through. What does this mean for you? So as I've mentioned, with increased card usage, there's likelihood your bank fees will increase. Coming from a banking background, I know that will be the case. So your profit will reduce unless you address the bank fee issue. So do you continue to absorb this increase in bank fees for payment solutions, going home with less profit, like I mentioned earlier? Maybe, you know, what that may do is it may need to actually needing to close your business. Or do you pass on the card acceptance costs to the client, keeping your cost of goods and services sold at their present levels? I hear you say you don't like surcharge. Well, here in Queensland, to anyone that says to me, hey, Mark, I don't like surcharge, well, I say, hey, Maria, I suggest that what you do is you may trade that brand new BMW out there in for a bicycle, because here in Queensland, there is a surcharge built into your fuel price. So you have to accept it. So I just want to share some other statistics with you, which will sort of further embed what I've talked about. Is in 2016, there was 52% of all transactions done by card and only 37% by cash. And that's sort of further indicated by the accelerated decline in ATM withdrawals, and banks are even now considering closing ATMs down. So in 2015, there was 723.5 million ATM withdrawals across the country, which was down 4.9% on the previous year. And in 2017, it was 925.4 million transactions done. So I just want to leave you with a little bit of food for thought. I think it's quite pertinent at this time of year with COVID. The ones who win are the ones who keep going after everyone else has quit. And we at BX and each and every one of us certainly won't quit. So thank you very much for your time this afternoon.